Color theory is usually presented as a fact, with charts of what each color means and which colors work well together. This makes everything very easy. I'm here to ruin all of that. Colors are subjective. It's in the name. Color theory. It's a theory. Colors aren't even real. Colors only mean something in relation to another color. Take this orange. It feels pretty warm, right? Well, if I surround it with a stronger orange, it now feels cold and gray. So, if color theory isn't the key to good colors, could it be observation? Well, it's certainly useful to be able to look at a color and then paint the color you see. And there's actually a very easy way to practice this. Look at a color in your reference, guess which color it might be, and then you just color pick the actual color to check your answer. YouTubers will leave out the last bit because they say you should get good at guessing. Well, you'll get better at guessing faster if you actually check your guess. Now, with our observation, we can do studies of either real life or other artists to see what colors they use. I'm gonna do a study of 3 different artists for this video. Here we can take note of the colors they use, the trends we notice, and the impact of those colors. Here I'm noticing that Sam uses very warm and saturated colors for the character, which is contrasted by the rather cool and desaturated colors in the background. He further amplifies the saturation around the planes that are hit by light, and although that's a stylistic decision, it is an exaggeration of 2 real phenomenons, subsurface scattering as well as light fall-off. Juko uses very cool, subtle and desaturated base colors. She also reuses colors like the purple of the hair and the ribbon, or the green in the flower stem and her eyes, which makes the piece feel more cohesive and harmonious, and adds more contrast to the red in the flower, which is only used once. Yu-Ming Lee's colors are much more abstract and artistic and is heavily tied with the brushwork. The colors still feel cohesive because the lighting is applied logically, even if they don't have a point of origin. So, observation will take you pretty far, but I've yet to talk about the most important aspect of color. Now, you probably already knew that in the color wheel, this axis refers to hue, this axis refers to saturation, and this axis refers to value. And value, on its own, is one of the most important fundamentals. Values are so important that you could make art at the highest level without hue or saturation whatsoever. And even with hue and saturation, having decent colors all comes down to having good values. So how do we get good values? By painting with a high value contrast in terms of light and shadow, not just in terms of local value. To explain what that means, here are 2 of my drawings. This one does have a contrasting range of values, sure, but only because of local value. The hair is brown, so I gave it a dark local value. His skin is white, so I gave it a light local value. So I, and a lot of other beginners, focus far too much on the local value or local color of things. Grass is green, the sky is blue, clouds are white, instead of thinking about light and shadow. Light and shadow is everything. This piece also has a contrasting range of values, but that has just as much to do with light and shadow as it has to do with local color. For learning, strong light and shadow contrast is flat out better. It's not just that it's easier to learn values when you remove color, but you learn more about every other fundamental, because the fundamentals all teach you about another fundamental, like how value is an integral part of form and composition, just like perspective. But colors only teach you about colors. So by focusing so much on colors, you're neglecting the other fundamentals, and since that includes value, you won't even learn that much about color. So if you instead focus only on value, and you do studies of references with a strong light and shadow contrast, it's a win-win. One practice you'll want to do is paint a sphere from imagination, because a sphere is quite uninteresting and simple. And the challenge is, since the subject matter is uninteresting, can you make it interesting by just playing around with colors? And that's what it really gets at, playing with colors. Colors don't have to make any logical sense or adhere to any rules. All that matters is that you're having fun with them. If you're having fun with them, they're good colors. Now we can put all of this together. I can utilize observation to see what colors are in my reference, but I'm not tied to strictly doing what's in my reference. I can experiment and go beyond my reference. And again, there's no finish line to colors, and even your own preferences for what constitutes good colors will change over time. So the most important thing is that you don't lock yourself into doing things a certain way, into only using certain colors or coloring in a certain way.